This is West African Voice Network.
He is known as the father of his nation. In his long walk to freedom, he fought for equality and has become an international symbol of liberation. This month, we shine a light on South Africa's first black president, Nelson Mandela, who is considered among the most influential people in history.
Men and women all over the world come and go. Some leave nothing behind, not even their nail. Others do leave something behind. Their task in life is one. That is to improve the living conditions of the people amongst whom they live. They are the men and women who want to put sunshine in the hearts of the poorest of the poor. Our youth are the most important national asset that we have. It is for that reason that we should give them the opportunity to advance.
Born on the 18th of July 1918, Mandela was the first member of his family to attend school. He was a descendant of the Tembu royal family, and his father served as a local chief and counselor to the king. Although it was expected that he would become a chief like his father, Mandela chose to study law at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, where he was the only black student and a frequent target of racism. In 1944, Mandela immersed himself in the world of politics by joining the African National Congress, known as the ANC, an anti-colonial political party that fought to empower the black population living in an oppressive white authority. Within the party, Mandela was part of a group that formed the ANC Youth League, which adopted measures such as boycotts and strikes to protest racist government policies.
From the very beginning, the African National Congress set itself the task of fighting against white supremacy. We have always regarded as song for one racial group to dominate another racial group. And from the very beginning, the African National Congress has fought without hesitation against all forms of racial discrimination, and we shall continue to do so until freedom is achieved.
In 1948, South Africa's National Party was elected into government and instituted a legal system of racial segregation called apartheid. The ANC continued its non-violent protest, and Mandela was instrumental in 1952's defense campaign, as well as the 1955 Congress of the People, which put him under the government's radar. Outside of politics, Mandela opened South Africa's first black law practice and represented mistreated black South Africans. In 1956, Mandela and 155 protesters were arrested for suspicion of treason. After a long trial, the group was acquitted of all charges. Soon after this, Mandela co-founded a subdivision of the ANC, which specialized in sabotage and guerrilla warfare.
Choose peace rather than confrontation, except in cases where we cannot proceed, where we cannot move forward. Then, if the only alternative is violence, we will use violence.
In August 1962, Mandela was arrested for a strike he organized the previous year. He was charged with conspiracy and sentenced to 5 years in prison. While serving his 5-year sentence, Mandela was further charged with sabotage, treason, and violent conspiracy during the infamous Rivonia trial. He subsequently received a life sentence and barely escaped a death penalty. Over the years, calls for Mandela's release built up global support, and after much negotiation and pressure, he was released on the 11th of February 1990 at the age of 72, serving a total of 27 years behind bars. In 1991, Mandela became the president of the ANC and worked with South African President F.W. de Klerk to bring an end to apartheid. Their work earned Mandela the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993, which he shared with de Klerk. A year later, the nation held its first ever open elections. The ANC won in a landslide victory, and Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president.
The time to build is upon us. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. We succeeded to take our last steps to freedom in conditions of relative peace. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete, just, and lasting peace.
As president, Mandela prioritized national programs that expanded access to social services, education, and housing. His administration also established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which served to investigate and confront human rights violations committed under apartheid. At the end of his term in 1999, Mandela retired from active politics, but continued to commit himself to activism, particularly in response to poverty, AIDS, and climate change. In 2013, Nelson Mandela died of a respiratory infection at the age of 95. 11 years on, he continues to be a symbol of peace and equality.